Dear student, welcome to the What is lecture series of physics. Today we will discuss about what is cathode ray tube. Cathode ray tube is a vacuum tube device which convert electrical signal into a visual signal or image. So cathode ray tube is a device which convert current and voltage into a visual signal or into a visual image. In a simple word, dear student, when an electrical potential is applied across the cathode ray tube, the electrical potential have an electrical signal which is based on electron and which is based on current and voltage, and the device cathode ray tube basically convert that current and voltage into a visual image or visual signal. Cathode ray tube contain one or more electron guns, the beam of which are manipulated to display the image on the phosphorescent screen. So cathode ray tube have one, two or even more electron guns. And dear student, what do you think? What is electron gun? Electron gun is device which basically produce stream of electron when they go through thermionic emission, etc. So basically electron in cathode ray tube, the electron gun produce the stream of electron, and the stream of electron is manipulated and it is fall, or it is directed to fall on the phosphorescent screen, and as a result we see an image on phosphorescent screen. The cathode ray tube device can be explained on the basis of schematic diagram. Cathode ray tube consists of a vacuum tube. Okay, so vacuum tube is basically a device which operates at low pressure. So cathode ray tube basically operates at low pressure. The cathode ray tube is connected with an electric base, and the base is connected with pin. These pins are basically known as an electric pin. The role of the electric pin is to connect the cathode ray tube with an electric potential. So basically the electric potential of the cathode electric potential is connected with the pins of the cathode ray tube. The base of the cathode tube is connected with heater. Heater is basically present inside the cathode ray tube. Okay, so when the potential is applied on the pin of the cathode ray tube, due to a potential, the heater will start to increase and it will start to heat up. Dear student, please note that the heater of the cathode ray tube is encapsulated with cathode. Cathode is made of the material which can basically easily produce or which can easily emit the electron. Usually they are based on different kind of filament material like tungsten, etc. So dear student, the cathode is basically cover the heater of the cathode ray tube, and when the heater heat up, heater will basically give heat to the cathode. So when the cathode heat up due to thermionic emission, the cathode will start to eject electron from its surface. Dear student, now the electron when are ejected from the cathode rays from the cathode of the cathode rays tube, the ejected electron have less speed and they are not focused. So in order to focus the ejected electron from the cathode rays tube, in the cathode rays tube, the cathode is covered with grid. Grid is a device which basically move the ejected electron fastward in a stream in a straight path toward the phosphorescent screen, and furthermore the grid in the cathode rays to basically increase the acceleration of the electron. So grid has two roles. Number one is the focus of the electron from the cathode. Number two is to increase the speed of the ejected electron from cathode. Dear student, please note that cathode ray tube also consists of pre-accelerating anode, focusing anodes. These are the focusing anode and as well as accelerating anode. So these are accelerating anode. The role of the pre-accelerating anode, focusing anode and as well as accelerating anode is that all these anodes first of all focus the stream of electron along the forward direction of the cathode rays tube toward the phosphorescent screen. And number two, these anode also increase the speed of the stream of the electron toward the phosphorescent screen because of the difference in potential, like because of the opposite potential. Since you know that the potential of the accelerating anode, focusing anode or pre-accelerating anode is plus, is positive, whereas the charge on the electron is negative. So they will basically move the electron faster in a focused direction toward the phosphorescent screen. Now dear student, please note that the electron in phosphorescent screen usually fall either in a different direction on a different part of the phosphorescent screen. The electron may fall on top or bottom or right or left of the phosphorescent screen. Now question here is that how the electron which basically are focused from the anode inside the from the grid and from the combination of anode may fall onto in different part of the phosphorescent screen. Dear student, this is done by using directional plates, vertical directional plate or horizontal directional plates. Dear student, vertical directional plate compel the stream of the electron to fall along the vertical direction either on the top of the phosphorescent screen or either on the bottom of the phosphorescent screen, whereas the horizontal directional plate basically compel the electron to fall either on the right or left side of the phosphorescent screen, so along the horizontal direction. Now very important question here to notice is that what do you think, dear student, is the vertical directional plate or horizontal directional plate? Are they both static or they both move? Dear student, please note that the vertical directional plate and as well as horizontal directional plates, all these plates are static in cathode rays tube. Now, another question arises here is that if both the vertical directional plate or horizontal directional plate are static, then how is it possible for electron to strike top or bottom or right or left side of the phosphorescent screen? Dear student, this is made possible by connecting the vertical directional plate and as well as horizontal directional plate with positive terminal of the potential source. Suppose if the potential of the upper plate of the directional plate is positive and it is slightly increased since the upper side part of the vertical directional plate has a positive charge and whereas the charge on electron is negative, so the potential of the upper plate is higher. So when electron move along this direction, the electron will automatically be attracted by the upper plate of the vertical direction by it will be attracted by the upper plate of the vertical directional plate, and as a result the electron will be deflected and will fall onto the top of the phosphorescent screen. Similarly, if the electron will fall onto the bottom of the phosphorescent screen if the electric potential of the bottom of the vertical plate is higher. Okay, same is the case with the horizontal directional plates. If the potential of the horizontal directional plate varies, the electron will fall right or left. So dear student, this is very important. The potentially manipulation of the vertical directional plate and as well as horizontal directional plate will define the spark, will define the interaction of the electron onto the surface of the phosphorescent screen. So this is the representation, schematic representation of the phosphorescent screen. So now dear student, in a summary, if the electric potential is applied across the pin of the phosphorus is applied onto the pin of the cathode ray tube, they will basically give current to the heater, and as a result the heater will start heating, and when the heater start heating due to a heat, the grid which is covered by the heater will the cathode which covered the electric heater due to a thermionic emission will result into a production of the electron, and the electron will be focused and moved in a faster way by the great accelerating electrodes, pre-accelerating electrode and focus electrode, and then these electrons are basically manipulated and by the vertical directional plates and horizontal directional plate, and as a result of this electron will fall either on the top, bottom, right or left of the phosphorescent screen, and at the end of the day we will observe image on the phosphorescent screen. So the cathode ray tube may be represented by animated image like this. So electric potential is applied on the pin, and due to electric potential the heater will be heated up and it will basically, the heat will be produced. The electrode is the cathode which is basically which encapsulate the heater in the cathode ray tube. They will start the ejection of the electron. Electron will be moved in a focused way along the forward direction, and then they are basically manipulated by the vertical directional plates or horizontal directional plate, and at the end of the day the electron will move forward and they will fall onto the phosphorescent screen, and as a result of this the phosphorescent screen will brighten up. Now very important question to notice here is that, dear student, that what do you think, is there possible that all the electron from this cathode are moved uh, forward in a focused fashion in a cathode ray tube? So I will simply say no. There will be some extra electron which may fall on the wall of the cathode ray tube. But interesting fact to notice here is that the student cathode ray tube wall are coated with aqua day coating. Aqua day coating is a special kind of coating which basically deflect the movement of the electron, and they basically again reorient the movement of electron in a focused fashion in the cathode ray tube, and at the end of the day the focused deflected electron will be focused and they will fall onto the surface of the phosphorescent screen. So dear student, the Interaction of the cathode, the stream of the electron with a phosphorescent screen may be represented by an animation image of the cathode ray tube. So basically, the student, this animated image basically indicate that how the beam of the electron is deflected and it's striked onto the surface of the phosphorescent screen, and as a result of which basically we observe an image produced by a phosphorescent screen. So dear student, in a simple word, the cathode ray tube is a device which convert an electrical signals. Electrical signals are based on the electron produced by a cathode, and these electrical signals are in cathode ray tube are converted into a visual signals. Dear student, for simplicity, the term electron gun, which is very commonly used, it is usually based on pin and as well as heater and cathode, and this device is usually based on thermionic emission. However, the electron gun may be a combination of great pre-accelerating anode, focusing anode, and as well as accelerating anode. So in a simple word, dear student, the cathode ray tube or CRT is a device which is used to convert the electrical signal which are based on current and voltage into a visual image. Okay, now dear student, please note that what is series of our basic physics is based on very short concise lecture. However, if you want to know about comprehensively about the cathode ray tube, about the part of cathode ray tube, like the role of pins, the combination or the composition of the base, the role of the heater, composition or the constitution of the cathode, gray anode, vertical directional plates or horizontal directional plate, and the role of the phosphorescent screen, that what material is used, uh, which is which is coated by a phosphorus screen. So if you want to know the in-depth information about the cathode ray tube, you can basically follow our comprehensive lecture series about the cathode ray tube. This lecture is more than 2 hours, and it's basically comprehensive lecture is more than 2 hours, and you can basically easily understand the essential component, the chemical and physical structure of all those essential component, and the electronic or magnetic manipulation which is required with the essential component of the cathode tube. So you can easily understand all the physics, chemistry, and electronics, or magnetism, which are associated with the cathode, the component of the cathode ray tube. So thank you, dear student, for watching short lecture, or what is lecture series of physics about what is cathode ray tube.